Howdy y'all, welcome back to the Georgia Cat Scanner channel. Today we're going to be working on an old 135 Massey Ferguson tractor with a 3-cylinder Perkins diesel in it. And what we're doing today is resealing the injection pump. This has got a CAV DPA type pump on it. A lot of tractors and equipment use this pump or one real similar to it. I know all these little 135s do, a lot of Fords do, a lot of older case equipment use this exact pump, and one of the big problems with them is they almost always start dripping fuel. Now this one's not leaking too bad, but you can see that the pump is wet and fuel will start leaking from the throttle shaft and around the nuts here that actually hold the cover on. And this one probably never has been resealed, and it's not leaking too bad, but it is enough that we want to take everything apart and reseal it. Alright, like I was saying, these pumps are notorious for the top covers leaking on them, and it's a real simple job to do in the barn there or wherever. So anybody that's good with basic hand tools can handle this. It just takes a couple of wrenches and a pair of pliers, and you can knock it out pretty quickly. First thing to do is shut the fuel off to the pump from the tank. And if your tractor or whatever you're working on, like I said, this is on a ton of different equipment, but if your tractor doesn't have a shut-off valve on it, now is a real good time to add one. And start by taking note of how everything is attached and set up. That's real important. It's all got to go back exactly the same as it was. And you'll notice right here, there's a wire in between the two nuts that actually hold the cover on, so we're going to cut that out of the way. And it's supposed to keep the nuts from backing off, but it is not required. If you really want to, you can wire it back, but I've never had to do that. And I've never had the nuts back off on one either. Alright. On this particular model, that's a 5/16 wrench to get the nut off for the fuel shutoff. This is the fuel shutoff, this is the throttle. Okay, I cheated a little bit and went and got a socket and ratchet, but that's alright. Alright. Now we're going to pop the throttle loose. There's always little washers on there, so make sure you don't lose any of your washers or your spacer that goes underneath it or any of that stuff. We'll have to have all of that to go back together. Alright. And like I said, this nut and this nut right here are what hold the cover on. They are 3/8. And there comes the fuel. Okay, now this is really important. When you start taking this apart, push the throttle down through the hole. And I'll show you why as soon as we get it off here. Alright, that little spring, I don't know if you can see it because of this fuel line that's here or not, but alright, that's the cover off. But here's what's so important. Okay, there's holes in this wheel right here, and there are holes in this throttle linkage. Be very mindful of which hole this spring goes in. And if you were going to take it loose from this, which hole that is in. Because if you get these wrong, you'll never get this thing to run right again. And that has got turned around. It was in the last hole there. Alright, here we are on the old workbench, otherwise known as the toolbox door on the service truck. And this is what the cover looks like. That's the same type of little cap that's on this, it just didn't come off on this side. This is our fuel shutoff. See, this little tit that sticks out right here is what engages the shutoff lever. So it has some O-rings on it. Pop it out. Just have to remember which way it was oriented, which is with the little tit facing the bottom of the cover. See, there's O-rings on it, and there's O-rings on the throttle shaft. Those have to be replaced. Those are the major source of leakage for these things. Alright, none of your adjustments here need to be messed with. Don't touch any of these. You can clean it off if you want to, which we'll wipe it down and hit it with some of the old brake clean, but doesn't have to have anything more extravagant than that. Yeah, I had to dig around the toolbox and find a small screwdriver. There's one little seal, and there's two little seals. Alright, I'm going to clean this off real quick, and then we'll be right back. It's semi-clean now, and this stupid little aluminum cover here for that set screw is going to go away because it's absolutely pointless. It's got the set screw's got a jam nut on it, and so some engineer somewhere thought that was a good idea, but it doesn't need to be on there. So, in fact, most of them don't even have it anymore because somebody already deleted it. Remember, everybody, engineers have been stupid since the dawn of time, and it's up to us mechanics to delete all of the ignorant stuff they've added to equipment through the years that's not needed. And that's your public service announcement for the day. Okay, so here is the gasket set. And I got this one at our local Massey Ferguson dealership, and it was about $11, and I am willing to bet that this is one of the $8 kits that they bought off of Amazon and to resell. But anyway, you can get these for anywhere from like $8 to $20 on Amazon, but I needed one today because I decided to do this, and so I ran down to the local dealership. Now, there's another parts house that's closer to me than the dealership that wanted $50 for the same thing. So if anybody buys one of these and gives any more than like $20 for it, you're an idiot. So anyway, here, the O-rings go on the shafts. You can see in here there's like 4 little O-rings, and then the 2 little fiber washers here, and the gasket. So the O-rings go on each shaft, it gets 2, and then the fiber washers are what go on top of the housing that seal the nuts. Here's my plug for a quality case pocket knife. Okay, throttle shaft. There we go. The groove in the middle stays open. Alright, here we are back at the tractor, and we got to get all the old gasket material off of the pump housing here, and just take an old small screwdriver or a razor blade or something like that, but you want to be real careful not to get it down into the pump there, so do be careful. Usually these come off in one piece, so I don't know. But like I said, I don't think this one's ever been resealed before, so this is probably the original gasket that's just stuck down tight. Okay, we've got everything cleaned up, the old gasket and everything off of here. So we're gonna put our new gasket on. And it only goes on one way. So you'll know if you got it on backwards like I just did, because the little tabs here aren't lined up with the studs that stick up. So flip it around. The tabs go in the slots right there. Alright, now this piece right here, which is this little hook over here, is the fuel shutoff. So it's this piece here, and it sits in there just like so. But we'll put that in a minute. So once you get everything put together, get a little diesel fuel. I got some on my fingers here, and put on the O-rings there just to lube them up a little bit. Remember how our cover came off? So that's going to start right in there, and it slides right in. There you go, just like that. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can put the throttle in and then hook it up, or you can hook it up and put the throttle in. And in this case, seeing as how it was hooked up kind of an odd way in my opinion, we're gonna put the throttle in. Actually, we're gonna have to go in from the other side. There we go. And then we're gonna put the cover on the throttle. Or rather, put the throttle in the cover. There we go. All right, we got our throttle shaft up here. We've got our fuel shutoff here. We've got to slide the fuel shutoff lever. I know you can't hardly see that. The fuel shutoff lever. Let me see if I can get you in a better position here. All right, the fuel shutoff lever here has to catch the little tip that sticks down right there. And that's very hard to make happen because you can't. There we go. You just sort of have to guess that it's in place. And I have actually had to take these things back apart before to make sure that it actually did connect. Because if it's not connected, you can turn it one way or the other, and it'll either you'll either get lucky and it will slide into position, or it will slide out of position. And once it slides out of position, you either the fuel won't turn on or it won't shut off. And if you get to a position where it won't shut off, then you just have to kill the engine with by smothering the air out. So you'll have to choke the air intake off somehow. Check. Okay, now that we've got the cover actually back down on it in the correct position, we put our two little fiber washers over the studs. Put our nuts down on top. Now, this is just a little cast aluminum cover, and these studs are pretty small. It does not take a lot of torque to hold these things down. Now we have our covers. This is our fuel shutoff. We're actually gonna Alrighty, and this one had a flat washer first, then the star washer, and then the nut. And again, these are really small little bolts. They don't take a lot to hurt them. So, okay, that's got the pump rebuilt. Now, what you will have to do, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, whenever you start this project, ideally you want to do it on a tractor that is running, and you can just shut the tractor off and actually handle the project here, because you shouldn't have to bleed the pump too much, and you really shouldn't have to bleed the injector lines. But we are going to crack these open and turn the fuel back on here. And this tractor does have a lift pump on the other side that we can use to pump fuel through the injection pump here if we need to. But this is a bleed screw, and so is this. So we'll crack our fuel on. And be real careful with these, because you can strip them out real easy. Where's my other wrench? There we go. There we go. Just crack this open. And if fuel doesn't start running out of it in a minute, we'll go around to the other side and start pumping it up. Okay, we got fuel starting to flow right there. It's just a drip, but that's really about all that it takes, which means that the cover is full. See all the air? You kind of want to let this go until all that air stops bubbling out of there, and you just get straight fuel coming out. There we go. Snug that up. Now, you probably don't have to bleed this one. We didn't mess with anything inside the pump, so you probably should be good on this one. So hopefully now the tractor will start if we've done our job correctly. Let's give it a try. Give it a little throttle. Make sure it's in neutral and our kill switch is pushed in. And we even got the kill switch back in on the first try too. So that's how you put together a seal kit for one of these little CVA pumps. Like I said, they're on a whole lot of different equipment. Case tractors and David Brown stuff, Ford. Of course, these old Massey Fergusons, and they're a real simple little pump to put a seal kit in. So when you find one of these that's leaking, don't hesitate to try fixing it, because it's not too hard, and I hope this video helps somebody get theirs fixed.